Hello and welcome back to Certified Black Weirdo. That is our official show tune. I'm just kidding. Certified Black Weirdo. Anyway, this is a channel. I'm Angela Tharp, and this is a channel where we celebrate the art. Okay, I came up with an official catchphrase too. Okay, here we go. Celebrate the weird work of one Black artist a week. And we rotate between. Okay, gosh, this is horrible. Okay, anyway, let me keep going. So, this is Wildcard Week, and we're going to be talking about A$AP Rocky's new music video, Punk Rocky, which I loved and watched on multiple occasions, which is a fancy way to say I've seen it more than once. And yeah, we're going to jump into it. We rotate between genres, so we do like TV one week, Wildcard the next week, or maybe not in this order, movie and an album, or like how I rotate per week. You can always leave suggestions in the comments if there's stuff that you think is like a cool, weird Black art piece we should talk about. And then please, I will always want you guys to feel like you can, let me know what you think. Hopefully it's positive. If it's negative, constructive criticism. And yeah, we'll just keep it rock and rolling. So thanks for hanging out, and let's get into it. Okay, welcome back. Yes, so this week we're talking about Punk Rocky, A$AP Rocky's new music video, which, I was not on my list of options. I'm trying to maybe make it so that you guys can vote on what you want to talk about, so that it's I'm not just like, we're talking about this, get on board. But you can vote on the ones or give a new option. But this just came out and it's Wildcard Week, and I love A$AP Rocky, so I thought I would do that. It's like a really quick music video. It's on YouTube, so if you're watching this, go watch that. Or if you've already seen it, come talk to me about it now. I guess you're already here. So the questions that I typically do for the video, sorry, I've got something. I always eat right before these, and then I'm like, oh no, it's not going. It was a granola bar. It was very good. Anyway, okay, so the things that I'll talk about in the video are, this is kind of typically what the questions I answer are like, what is this about? What's weird about it, obviously in the best way. What does it remind me of? And then what did I like about it? And then I typically like to say a quote that I like too. So that's what we'll do this time. We'll start with, sorry, this is my notes, my documents to read through. Okay, anyway, what is it about? So if you've seen it, it's silly, kind of like summarizing music video, but it does kind of have a story. And the story is, what I wrote is a punk guy, Rocky, or just Punk Rocky, lives next door to a couple where the wife, Winona Ryder, has a thing for him. And the husband, who is this is what I wrote, a beefy gym kind of guy, is endlessly irritated by Rocky's presence, his parties, his wife's crush, etc. And he keeps calling the police on him. So that's kind of the story that I saw, I guess, when I watched it. I hope you guys aren't like, you're looking too deeply into the thing. But that is what I do. My PhD is in Black culture. That is all I do, is look deeply into the thing. So I guess what was weird about it, a lot of things, if you've seen it, what was not weird about it. But something that I really liked was, the whole world felt weird in this super satisfying way. I feel like a lot of A$AP Rocky stuff is like that, which is so fun. And bizarre, and it's kind of what the spirit of this channel is supposed to be, or what I want to celebrate is stuff that feels Black, it feels pro-Black, it feels like it's including Black people, an ode to Black culture, a part of Black culture, and also it's imaginative in a way that's kind of off the beaten path, right? It's kind of taking whatever else you're into and incorporating that into what it means to be Black, and I feel like A$AP Rocky is such a good example of that. And it's just really fun to see his projects, especially this one. So I felt like the world of this music video was weird in a super satisfying way. And especially, I don't know, I feel like in this, and then it's not called Tailor Swif. What's it called? What? Oh, gosh. Please hold. Let me look this up. I should have looked this up beforehand. Oh gosh. Let's see. Okay. The last thing that I looked up was how to alleviate shin pain. According to Google, because I have been running again, and I realized I need to stretch more. Okay, Tailor Swif. So basically Tailor Swif. Anyway, in that music video, it's like time is sort of slowed down and we see like a million weird images. Maybe one day we should talk about that. But there's like so much. It's like the explosion of his imagination all over the music video, and it's sort of like maximalist in all the things that are included, but sort of like a slow pace in the sense that we're just the camera sort of just like panning all of these weird images. One that comes to mind is like in the toilet, there's like a cappuccino, like coffee art, like foam art of a cappuccino in the toilet bowl. Like just like a ton of weird stuff, but it's like just slow pan while the music's playing, and like everyone's just sort of, it's like this maximalist like slow paced world. And here it felt like time, I don't know, in moments felt sped up, like when they got arrested and like they're getting slammed on the police car to the beat of the music, which is like something that I really liked, which I guess we'll talk about later, but maybe we can talk about here because it's weird too. It's just sort of how like it takes all these things that are like super violent and feel out of our control, and sort of like through bending time, through bending who has power, through the art of the song, right, and the aesthetics of the music video and like the story, it kind of gives that power back to Black people in these things like police, like getting the police called on you, not being able to like be loud and like be in packs of people, like like have a party in numbers, like without it being seen as a threat, you know what I mean? It's like, or like just an angry white man in general, like as like this threat, but here it's like a joke, and like here it's like he's in control, and like when he's not in control, he gets in control again, but it's like not even serious. Like in the music video itself, it's like playful, but it kind of is like recycling or like renegotiating or like I kind of want to say like re-upping, but I don't think that's right. But like it's kind of like taking these things that are out of your control, and it's like flipping them so that they're in your control, but in a way that's like imaginative and playful and surreal, which is why I love like surreal Black art in general. Is like, I feel like it like always, like Sorry to Bother You is like that. He's like using the white voice to his advantage, right? And what else? They clone Tyrone, the clones, and like creating this whole other world where it's like you do have agency and you can figure it out. It creates like, in my dissertation I was kind of, I think I was calling it, oh my gosh, I wrote my dissertation like 6 months ago and now it's just gone. My brain like wipes the memory of everything like every 6 months. It's like I spend so much time on something, or like I've written novels and then shared them with my friends and then they'll reference it to me and I don't even remember what I wrote. So anyway, but I'm pretty sure I called it like the Black imagination. Like if like the white imagination is sort of like what is projected onto Black bodies by white people, like by Black people as like threatening or, you know, violent, or if they're in a pack of three, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. Pack is a weird word to use. I don't know. Pack, group, it's just group. But I like pack as in like the room is packed. There are a lot of people here. We're I don't know. Anyway, these ideas that get projected on to Black people. Like there was a really, really interesting essay by Judith Butler, who does like a lot of like gender philosophy, and they were sort of like writing about Rodney King in the 90s, and they were like, the fact that they saw this man handcuffed on the ground as like someone that they needed to continually beat down because he was threatening to them on the ground, handcuffed, like that is white paranoia, or like what I would understand is like the white imagination, like this idea that like no matter what, like you're not in like, oh gosh, now I'm going on my whole thing, but it's like you're not in the same world, right? Like there's a world, the practical, like reasonable world as we're in, and then there's everybody's projection onto that world. And as Black people, often you have to kind of move through the world with white people's projections onto you because white people have power. And then it creates this like sense of like restlessness, which is what my dissertation was on, of like, how do I get around this? To, like, you know, in social settings, maybe you're with your friends who are not white, or maybe with white friends who understand what's going on, you know what I mean? But like in your day to day, when you go to the store, when you like live in your house, you don't know who your neighbors are. You like when you go to work, like there are places where like you can't really control that, and it can create this sense of like anxiety or restlessness or angst. And what I really like about like surreal Black art is it kind of like takes that restless feeling and makes art out of it, where it's a world where you do have control. It's almost like a Black imagination in response to the white, where the power dynamics are different. And I think in this music video, to go extremely deep with it, it's kind of like doing that, right? It's like, okay, he's like this punk guy that lives next door, and the guy's calling the cops on him, but like he's I don't know, it's like but we move on and we go on and we go on, right? And it's just, I don't know, I really love that. And it is weird, like the time goes slow, or it goes, I mean, I don't know what you would call like the getting put on the car to the beat of the music. Maybe that's time being sped up, or like when they're all shuffling into the police station and it's just like one, but they're like, what? It's not like the timing. It's not like the timing of like reality. It's like a little bit more to the tempo of the music, which kind of creates like this control of the world through that time and through the music, which I thought was really interesting. So that's cool. And I feel like, yeah, that was true in the Tailor Swif video. It felt like it was like panning. And then in the Chanel commercial, which maybe you saw or didn't, he was like speeding through, and then Margaret Qualley's character, I guess, was like walking through. I don't know. Sometimes with like, there was like a whole conversation around like, why couldn't it be Rihanna? Rihanna, I think it's pronounced Rihanna, actually. But like, why does it have to be Margaret Qualley? Why does it have to be like this white woman in this thing? And I think that like my only commentary on that on the internet is to say that like sometimes when these like big corporations like Chanel or like Hollywood or like Disney or whatever, like create these interracial stories, but they're not like written by somebody like a person of color, or like, I don't know, or somebody who like is really tapped into what's happening racially, maybe white, but knows what's going on. Like when they're written just by like, whoever, let's just throw them together, it's fine. It sort of like becomes this like symbol of like American race relations. Like if you think about the movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which I think came out in the 50s. And it was like this whole thing, is it was like the first time that like a black and white woman either were romantic on camera or kissed. I don't even think they kissed. I don't know if they kissed. I haven't seen. I need to see it. Definitely need to see it at this point. But like, or I do, at least just for context. But it became this whole racial conversation of like, oh, are we ready for this? Or we are progressive now. We have moved on as a country. And I think like in this current political climate, I would not say that that's where we are. And so I think like it can feel sort of forced to make it interracial, because it's sort of like this message in a way that like isn't always true, but is like being presented as if it's true. And then it sort of like creates this like disconnect that's kind of awkward to me. But besides that, but I do really like Margaret Qualley's character. And she is really good in Native Son, which is the Susan Laurie Parks movie, where Bigger, who's the main character, is like this whole crazy story from the 50s, I think, or for the 40s. I don't remember when Richard Wright wrote the novel. But anyway, but she's really good in that. And I like her as a character. And she's good in a lot of stuff. She was good in The Substance. No shade against her. Sometimes I'm like, this isn't like one, I don't know, like any kind of like representation across racial lines on a big stage seems to like give a message. And is the message aligned with where we're at right now? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, or no, or just keep it to yourself. Okay, unless you agree with me. I'm just kidding. You can disagree with me too. I want us to have a conversation, please. But please be kind. Anyways, so I thought, yeah, the time was weird. Both in that Chanel commercial and in the Taylor Swift music video, and here it's like playing with time kind of creates this like world that feels specific to that piece, which was really cool. And then obviously the details were weird. I loved Rocky's like A$AP Rocky's pink rollers. And then later at the show, Winona Ryder's character has like a scarf that has pink rollers printed on it. I thought that was really great. And I don't know, the birds around his head when he was in the cop car, I thought were like interesting, surreal. And then obviously the weirdest, coolest part was like when his eye was super swollen. And I thought really thoughtfully it wasn't swollen because of the police, but it was swollen because at the punk show or like the party, he got kicked in the, what's it called? The, where everybody rushes together and then they're jumping together. Okay, I don't know. Guys, I'm not punk enough, but I love the vibe. I really love the vibe. But anyway, mob. That's not a mob. It's not a flash mob. Where you go and you jump. Oh my gosh. Should I look it up? I'm going to look it up. I'm so sorry. Okay. Please tell. Okay. Punk. Mob. Mosh. Is it mosh pit? Mosh pit. Punk mosh pit. There we go. Now I know. Anyway, in the mosh pit, wow, I sound so like Courtney now. In the mosh pit, it gets kicked in the eye, and then his eye gets swollen. And then it's the coolest, like weirdest part of the music video is the eye is like singing and talking. It's like a swollen eye, but the eyelashes, like it's very weird. You should go watch it. It's amazing. But anyway, so I thought that was a really cool part too. It's like the eye is talking, and then later the eye is like talking into the phone. I thought that was like an awesome thing to include. And just I think like some of the details, like him not getting punched by the police, but him getting kicked in the eye at the thing, right? Or like with like the like neighbor romance happening, it feels like more of like a one-sided crush than like this yearning on both sides, which I felt like, again, if we see these interracial couples as like a symbol of like, this is where we should be, or this is where we are. Like, I think sometimes there's like the move to like make it romantic without doing the healing of like actual real racial reconciliation. It's just sort of like a band-aid on top, like, but they're in love and we should all be in love and everything's fine. It's like kind of like a denial. And I like that in this music video, it wasn't like this, like, everything is fine. It's more like she's kind of like into him because he's like this young, cool guy. And then he's like, I don't know, responding in a way without responding like in the like a serious, like, and I love you and everything is fine. This country's going to be fine feeling. So anyway, oh gosh, this one's a little unhinged. Anyway, so that is what was weird about it to me. Let me know in the comments what you thought was weird. And then what it reminded me of. So yeah, again, Native Son by Susan Laurie Parks, or directed by Susan Laurie Parks. So basically, if you haven't heard of it, maybe you have. If you have, let me know in the comments. But it's like a movie from, I would say, the 1940s. That might be wrong. But around that time, Richard Wright, who was a famous Black writer back then, he actually, fun fact, that I do know this, he like mentored James Baldwin, and then he helped James Baldwin get to Paris, and then James Baldwin got really famous, and then James Baldwin sort of like dissed Richard Wright, and then they had like this whole beef for like decades. And then when Richard Wright died, James Baldwin wrote like an obituary for him, but it was kind of like this like basically like a diss track in an obituary where he was like subtly just like talking shit about him from beyond the grave. or not from beyond the, I mean, like to him from beyond the grave, I guess, or whatever. Anyway, very good. It's just like I don't know, it's a wild story. And he told this story, I won't get into it now. Maybe I'll talk about it later, but it was a very weird, fun story, the relationship between them. But Richard Wright wrote this novel about this guy who went to work for this like rich white family, and then something bad happens by accident, but then it kind of creates this like snowball effect of like all of trying to like get out of the situation, and it just gets like really, really intense. I thought it was really good, but some people don't like it because it's like very violent. And then there's like a 1950s movie. I think I already talked about this on here, so I won't go into it that much, but there's a 1950s movie where Richard Wright plays the main character, but he's like decades older than the character in the thing, and it's kind of like random. And then in like 2019, Susan Laurie Parks remade it, and she's like a super dope Black experimental playwright. And I would say she's experimental in her place. I don't know. Top dog, underdog, etc. But anyway, she made one that's like more punk, and this really reminded me of that vibe, and I love that movie because of the vibe of that. Okay, I also said that I went to a Black punk show once in Atlanta, and it was so good. Like, I don't know, I think it's like there's something very cathartic about like if the punk scene, which, admittedly I don't know much about it. I didn't know what it was called a mosh pit. But like if there's like this like release that comes from just being like just like letting out any negativity you feel, or any energy you're feeling, or just like just movement, like if there is like a release in that, I think coupling that with Blackness and Black culture and Black people is like very, very, very cathartic, because it's a means of like letting go of like that restless feeling for a moment of like living in a world that's like all this stuff is projected onto you and then by people in power. So then it becomes like your literal rules for if you don't want to get in trouble, and it's just like it can be very confining. And I think like something like punk that kind of opens that up is really beautiful and satisfying, and I love to see Black people do that. And it was like a Black punk show that I went to, so it was like a bunch of like Black punk bands, and I think just seeing that, like not being like one person in that crowd, which, you know, Hanif Abdurraqib has written about, how that could feel really isolating. Also, I Love You So Much, It's Killing Us Both by Mariah Stovall is a really super good book that's also about like being Black in the punk scene. That's a novel. Hanif Abdurraqib's stuff is essays. He has an essay collection called what's it called? Oh gosh. I love it. Okay. They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. Okay. And then Mariah Stovall's book is called I Love You So Much, It's Killing Us Both. And those are both really good about being Black in the punk scene, but going to a Black punk show where everything was like, I don't know, everybody was Black. So it wasn't like you're like one of a few in a crowd, but like it's like a community thing, but it's also like this alt scene, and it's also like the scene where you're supposed to kind of like rage a little bit against the machine. Oh gosh, is that punk? I don't know. But anyway, this reminded me of that, of like, I want to see more spaces like that. Afropunk, I think, was meant to be that, and then kind of became more mainstream. It became kind of about the aesthetic, which is also cool. But, you know, like the music itself and like the feeling of like the intention behind something that's like genuinely punk, I think is really cool. And then, yes, it reminded me of the Tailor Swif music video, Tessa Thompson's character in Sorry to Bother You, which we talked about last week. And then I just wrote here that Black punk is such a dope vibe. I wish I was, I'm a generally pretty like, hi, like a lot of, what is it, serotonin, dopamine, etc. Not totally naturally, you know, I have a lot of anxiety. I also have OCD, but like, I think I do a lot of things to kind of keep it positive. And I'm also pretty non-confrontational, or have historically been. So, you know, I like to journal. I need to exercise. I need to get enough sleep. I have a lot of like qualifying things that keep me in a good mood. I need to write. So I write poetry in the morning, and I do all these things to kind of like keep it cool. But I love the feeling of just like letting go and like being yourself. Like I love, like, you know, the aesthetic and the hair and the clothes, you know, or the I don't know, it's not even just an aesthetic, it's like an attitude that's like, I'm gonna be whoever I want to be, you know. And I think that like I aspire to that, which is cool. Anyways, okay, here's what I liked about it. Oh gosh, we're already at 20 minutes. I'm gonna try to wrap this up in 5. Let's keep this snappy. So what I liked about it, yeah, I liked how it felt both free and experimental. I think that this is like a new sound for A$AP Rocky, but at least what I've heard. I need to like, maybe it would be too much to do him back to back, but we could do an A$AP Rocky album for next week, because next week's album week. But I haven't listened to a whole album, but there's like songs that I've liked, you know, and listened to over and over and over again from his stuff. And I feel like in the comments of the music video, people were saying that usually he's like hip hop with some punk elements. It's like punk with some hip hop elements. That was weird. Anyway, so I feel like he's changing up his sound, and I think that was cool. It felt like very free. I like the way that he does his art. Like it feels like it's like intent. Like I think I most like am inspired by artists, and especially Black artists, who are like weird and messy and free, but it feels so intentional. Like there's like still like a type A energy underneath that like makes it happen. And yet it feels like it's just organically happening, you know, like without that intention, but it's intentional so much that it feels like it's not. And I love that. And I love that about this music video. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, like it's taking these things like, you know, having some angry white man call the cops on you, having like an older white woman have a thing for you, which maybe is not like a violent thing, but like these ideas of like being sexualized or being seen as a threat, or not being able to be free or allowed, or like have a party, or not be able to move in a group, like not a pack sounds like a pack of wolves. I don't know why I keep thinking pack, but group I think just doesn't feel that specific. But anyway, you know, not being able to move in numbers, all of these things, you know, they could feel really confining and serious and violent, because they are. And I think to be able to like flip them on their head and play with the ideas in art to make it feel not so static, but like flexible, like this power can change, like our perspective toward these things. If they can't change in real life right now, they can change in art, you know, and like you can imagine worlds that are different, like at least in your art. And I think that like being able to encounter that art feels very freeing, because it's a reminder that like the way things aren't just like inevitably that way, they were set up that way, and at least in art we can change them. eventually in real life we can also change them so that you can move more freely. And you can jump out a window and just like go on your way. You can bust out a police car. You can do like, you're free, you know, you're not so like subject to the powers that be, you know. To imagine that in art, I think it's really powerful, and then to eventually hopefully be able to do that in real life. So also, and then I like some of like the paralleling, like Winona Ryder's character gave him a plate of cookies, and then later he threw the cookies at the husband, and like the husband threw him over the fence, and then later the husband threw somebody else over like into this building, and then A$AP Rocky jumped out. But like these kind of like flipping of things, I think was really cool. Oh, and then one of my favorite parts was like the punk mug shots, like the flash of those in sepia, like so they kind of look like old school. I thought that was really cool. The whole thing, yeah, awesome. I watched it like 3 times or 4. I don't know. It was great. Okay, we're gonna try to keep this snappy. So one of my favorite quotes, this is like a tiny quote. I need to like actually listen to the song so I can listen to the lyrics. I think I was getting too distracted by like the visuals to like really listen to the song, which is maybe why we should include an album of his for album week. But one thing that the sort of like angry, beefed up white husband was like, I hate when this happens. And I thought that was like really funny, because it's like, yeah, it's like moving out of his control. It's like going into this realm of like power being shared or spread or like changed, you know. And I thought that was great. Like kind of taking that power and redistributing it created like more room for like an open Black world. And like that comes from like a rich Black imagination, and I really liked that. And I just thought that like that plug of dialogue was really silly. I think the husband did a really good job doing Winona Ryder. I don't love that like the number one comment is like, oh my god, Winona Ryder. It's like, okay, yeah, it's like so much more than like, I think that like it's unfortunate with like Black art when it becomes this huge thing because you've included like a white person who is like not co-signed it, but like is a part of it, and now it's this now everyone's paying attention, but at the same time I think they both did a good job. And I think the music video was both funny because she was in it, and also it was like this whole huge thing beyond like her part of it. That was really well done. Okay, and that is it. We did it. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Let me know what you think about this music video. I thought it was so fun. I would love to hear your take. And next, we're going to do an album, as I've said multiple times now. You know, it's like, I like having like a half schedule where it's like we're picking them as we go, but also like I know what we're doing because I'm very type A. So yeah, if you have an album, like a weird Black album that you would recommend, please put it in the comments. I would love to see that. I've been trying to put up like a poll on Substack. So that link, the Substack link has like a bunch of notes, and like we'll have an interview, like a YouTube video of like an interview with A$AP Rocky. I try to like include the artists themselves in the notes so you can kind of like watch them talk about their things too, not just me. But yeah, so I'll have in that like whole Substack thing a poll for the next week, and you can either vote for one of the two options, or you can put your own ideas in the comments there as well. Okay, so thank you for hanging out, and I will see you next week. I hope you have a good rest of, I don't know what day this is going to come out, probably on Sunday, so a good rest of your Sunday, or whatever day you're watching it. I hope it's good, and I hope you do something that makes you feel good. Like go on a walk, or go on a run, or watercolor. Okay, now we're just talking. Bye!